Okay, for this lesson, range of quadratic functions, if you were confused in the packet, this probably makes a little bit more sense because you can look at some of the pictures and obviously it'll tell if you are right or wrong before you do anything else. However, to do this, you really need to use a calculator. That way you can look at this picture. So I'm going to show you how to use our calculators, and then I'm also going to let you know that Desmos is a really good app for graphing, and you can get it on your computer or your phone. Okay, so if you're doing the graphing calculator, Desmos, beautiful free math, you're going to click graphing. I just typed it into Google, and once it loads, you just type your equation exactly how it appears. So if it's y equal whatever it was, x minus 5, you type it in here. Okay, and you keep going, and then you'll see it squared. So again, I'm going back to my calculator, but just know that this resource is available to you. All right, so once you have that calculator and you see the home page, we need to get to our graph. So you're going to go to New Document. If you have stuff in there, it's going to ask you to save. You want to select No, and then hit Add Graph. Okay, so from here, this is function notation. We'll keep going over it, but this is the same as y equals. So from here, we just need to copy everything down. That's our equation. So we have x minus 5 squared minus 1. So I'm going to go over here, look for my parentheses. My x is down at the bottom, so x minus 5. Be very careful that you're not hitting that negative. It'll totally throw your answer. So x minus 5 and then squared. Then I'm going to make sure that I'm not typing in that exponent, so I hit the right arrow. Still not done yet, so I need to go back, and I just go back and click it. If it goes away, hit tab. Tab makes the equation disappear and come back. And then notice how it says F2, so I just need to hit the up arrow to get back to F1. Okay, so then it was minus 1, and that is what I want, so my equation should look like this once it's graphed. Okay, so I'm going to go back and just double check that I did hit the right values. I did, so now I need to see what my range is. So remember, my range is the lowest to the tallest value. So if I'm looking at my picture here, I know that my lowest value has to be negative. And I'm not quite sure. It looks like it's probably -1, but I want to be able to look at this a lot clearer. So I'm going to go and look at my menu, and then it's going to say View, and then you need to look for Grid, and then up to you to add dot or line. I'm going to go with dots. Okay, and then if I'm looking at this, I can for sure see that that is -1. Okay, if it looks like it's in between, you can be even more precise. I'm going to say, okay, this looks like the lowest, so lowest is minimum. So that means when I'm going to analyze my graph, I need to look for that minimum. So I'm going to go to Menu, Analyze Graph, and then I'm going to look for minimum. Then it's going to ask me for my lower bound. All that means is go to the left of your graph somewhere and hit Enter, and then it'll switch to upper bound. So then you just need to go all the way right and hit Enter, and it gives you the point that is the minimum. And remember, we're caring about our range, which is y, so I care about -1. Okay, so my range here, the lowest spot is -1, and then with our graphs, quadratics, this shape here, you might as well imagine that those are arrows pointing up. So it goes up forever and ever and ever. So I'm going from -1 to positive infinity, which means my answer is everything that's bigger than -1. So when I go to write this over here, it's all real numbers such that my y is greater than or equal to -1. Now the reason it's greater than or equal to is because this is a solid line. If your quadratic was a dashed line, we would not include that value here. Okay, so y is greater than or equal to -1.